I think they have planned. I think now means they are having a session on basics of power electronics. Then they are having some converter based power electronics session. I think maybe later on. So Sudipto,
Yes, sir.
am I right? Means
Yeah, yeah. Basically, we have designed the schedule. Means we can cover the basics starting from, because most of the students are from BTech side, and then we will go to the MTech and research scholars. And in this way, we have planned this session. So yes,
okay. So I have to stick to the very basics, correct?
yeah, yes,
Because
sir. Yeah, you can start from the basics and you can increase the level also if you want.
no, but in 1 hour we cannot go to
Yeah,
the.
yeah, sure, sure,
But
sure, sure. Yeah,
okay, I will stick to my basics only. To the basics
yeah,
only.
of
I
course.
would love to share some of my recent research, but I think the time won't permit. So let us start from the very basics. As you know that means uh, any one of you have any idea that what will be the what is the efficiency of a coal based thermal power plant? Any one of you having
Sir,
any idea?
sir, around
40,
45%,
yeah,
Around
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 45
45%,
to 40%.
50%.
so 35 to 40%.
around 35%. Are you saying?
40,
It's a
40
45,
to
45.
45%.
Do you know why? Means suppose I ask you the reason that why it is only 35 to 40%, why not 70 to 80%?
So rotational losses are there. That's why, and some other losses are also there. So losses is more,
Most
so
of
efficiency will be less.
most of the losses come from like the thermal efficiencies.
Okay. Anyone else?
There are losses in conversion from thermal to mechanical and mechanical to electrical.
Okay. So I think you might have studied in the first year thermal engineering, correct? Means some subjects on thermal. Have you studied some subject where you have studied first law of thermodynamics, second law of thermodynamics?
Yes, sir.
So in that course, have you studied any means formula which gives you the maximum efficiency for any conversion from thermal to mechanical, like Carnot cycle, something like that?
Yes sir, पढ़ा है but remember नहीं है sir.
So as per that formula, there is a limit from thermal to mechanical power conversion, and that is around 33 to 35%. You cannot extract mechanical energy more than that. Okay, so any thermal energy like a coal-based thermal power plant, if you want to convert that energy into mechanical power, because what we are doing is that in thermal power plant, first we are means converting the thermal energy stored in coal to mechanical power, and that mechanical power is driving the turbine. Okay, and that turbine means that turbine is connected to the shaft of the generator, and thus we are converting that mechanical power into electrical power. Okay, so initially we have a limit on the conversion rate from thermal to mechanical, and then again from mechanical to electrical we have again a limit on the conversion efficiency. In most of the cases in for generator it's about 80 to 90%. So suppose we have about 35, let's suppose the thermal efficiency is about 35%, and then so from thermal to mechanical it will be 35%, and from mechanical to electrical, let's suppose it's 80%. So 80% into 35% will become 24%. Okay, and then there will be different losses like transmission losses, distribution losses. So ideally, if we are generating power with the help of coal, okay, using thermal energy, so ideally, hello.
Sir, you're audible. No issue. You can continue, sir.
Okay, okay. So because someone has commented, so I thought, okay, let's ask. Okay, so now everyone getting my idea? That ideally, if we are generating electrical power from some coal-based power plant, and means you know that uh, in India, still, I mean, after very large penetration of renewable energy, still we are having about 50% to 55% coal-based thermal power stations. Previously, it used to be 70%, but now after means after renewable energy and other hydro-based power plant, recently we have developed many hydro-based power plant, and also many renewable energy setup has come up in India. So now that percentage of thermal power plant has decreased in India. But still it is about 55 to 60%. So mostly we have uh, our homes supplied by thermal power plants. So I mean to say that if we are means uh, the efficiency which is coming at our end is around 15%, because 35% is the efficiency from thermal to mechanical, and then from mechanical to electrical it's 80% efficiency. So multiplying 80 into 35% will become 24%, and then after decreasing all the losses like transmission losses, distribution losses, and all the losses, it comes between 15 to 20%. So why I've discussed this thing is because uh, like if you want to save energy, okay, because nowadays what we are focusing on increasing the capacity of power generation, okay, but I am going reverse. Like for example, if I save 1 kilowatt of energy, that means I am saving equivalent 6 kilowatt of uh, coal, okay, means the coal required for generation of 6 kilowatt will be saved. Are you getting my point? Because if we are saving 1 kilowatt of energy in our home, 1 kilowatt hour, and then means if we multiply it by all the losses in between, so ideally we are saving approximately 6 kilowatt hour of coal. Okay, hopefully means everyone is getting my point, what I'm trying to say. So here it comes the concept of power conservation. Okay, means instead of power generation, it's more beneficial to have power conservation. That's why you can see that we have changed all our means previously incandescent lamp and all CFL lamp by LED bulbs, and now previously we used to have 75 watt fans, 80-watt fan in our home, but nowadays we are having about 50-watt fan, 30-watt fans. Okay, similarly, like exhaust fan, we are having about 20-25-watt exhaust fan available in the market. So it's better to concentrate on the energy conservation on our end in order to save a large amount of energy, especially I'm talking with respect to coal. Okay, so one way we can save energy, means hopefully you got the idea that why energy conservation is very important. So once we get to know the importance of energy conservation, uh, means we should know that the the thing which plays most important role in energy conservation is power electronics converters. Without power electronics, I think it's next to impossible to have energy conservation. Let's take the example of LED bulb. What is LED bulb? It is having a small rectifier circuit in it, because you know, LED bulb operates on DC power. So, but whereas we have AC power in our home. So in order to convert AC power into DC power, we use a small rectifier in LED bulb. So again, means in all our LED bulbs, we have AC power. We have the role of power electronics in it. Okay. Now take the example of inverter ACs. Okay. How many of you know the concept of inverter ACs? Yes, please.
I don't know, sir.
Anyone else who knows the concept of inverter ACs?
It's, we heard of it, sir, but we don't know the working.
Okay, anyone else? No one, nobody? Okay, so basically, you know what happens in inverter ACs. Okay, just asking one question. Means how many of you will not means I guess they are audiences from different parts of India. So whether I should speak in English only or I can also use Hindi.
So you can use both, I think.
Both, sir, both.
English, sir. Some of us are non-Indian natives. So
Okay.
English. Yes, thank you.
Okay. So I will stick to English. Okay. Thank you. Means even if one is there who cannot understand mixed language, so means okay. So thank you for your feedback. So I will stick to English. So now coming back to the topic of inverter ACs. One of the myths with inverter AC is that it can operate on inverter as well. Okay, that's one of the myth. Means it can operate on inverter. There is not a problem, but obviously we have to increase the rating of inverter and we have to increase the capacity of batteries, because we can operate anything on inverter. You know, even means we are operating aircraft, we are operating trains on batteries. So means batteries means we use batteries and then inverter. So we can operate anything on batteries or inverter. The thing is only that we have to increase the capacity of batteries and we have to increase the capacity of inverter. Okay. So, but if someone says to you that you can operate inverter ACs on your home inverter, which is your means already installed inverters in your home, and means so someone has asked the question, so I will discuss that question later on. The thing is that if someone is some marketing guy, because if you go to the market and if you want to buy if you go to the shop and want to buy inverter AC, then some of the salesmen or some of the marketing guy, they will say to you that means you can operate it on your home inverter. So the thing which you must ask to him is that, okay, what will be the capacity of that inverter? So you please ask him to write down the capacity of the inverter and the capacity of the battery on which it can operate. I am pretty sure that the normal inverter capacities which we are having at home and normal battery system, we cannot operate 1.5 ton AC on that. So why its name is inverter? Because the name, it is named inverter ACs because we are using inverter technology in that. What is inverter technology? With the help of power electronics inverter, we are controlling its speed. Okay, as you know that means you might have observed in air conditioners that for example, if you set the temperature of your room at around 25 degrees centigrade, okay, so once you switch on the air conditioner, it will start to cool your room. It will start cooling your room, and once it reaches 25 degree, once the temperature of your room reaches 25 degree, then means immediately your AC will stop functioning, and it will get cut off. Automatic cutoff will be there, and after some time, maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes, or maybe sometime 20 minutes, once your room temperature increases above 25 degree, like it goes to 27, 28, 29, something like that, after a certain hysteresis band, they always put some hysteresis band. So once that crosses the hysteresis band, like for example, it goes to 27 or 28 degrees centigrade, again the inverter AC, sorry, not the inverter AC, the conventional AC will start functioning. So every time it starts, so it draws a huge amount of current. Okay. So because of that, it consumes more power. So what happens in the inverter AC is that they have placed power electronic based inverter in that, and the function of that inverter is that it varies the means voltage level. Okay, it varies the voltage level, and with that voltage level, with that voltage level, you can control the speed of the motor. Okay, so once you control the speed of the motor, what it does means, suppose for example, you have set the temperature of your room to 25 degrees centigrade. Okay, so now for the case of inverter AC, once you start your inverter AC, it will make your room to cool around 25 degrees centigrade. And once the temperature of your room reaches 25 degrees centigrade, the inverter AC will not get cut off. Instead, it will run at very slow speed, very low speed, and it will try to maintain the temperature of your room to 25 degrees centigrade by running at very low speed. Okay, so in this way, means uh, your inverter AC will be continuously on, but it won't require higher current again and again. So that is how means the power rating of your inverter AC is very less, and the power consumption of inverter AC is very less. So you can see that means with the help of power electronic converters, we are having a lot of energy conservation in most of our appliances. So hopefully, am I clear regarding the operation of inverter ACs?
Sir,
Yes, yes.
sir, is the inverter AC same as a UPS?
Means in what sense?
I mean, the role of UPS is to take energy stored in the battery and then supply the equipment.
No,
Is it
no, no,
doing the same way?
no, no. It is not storing the energy. Adarsh has said correctly. It is basically controlling the speed of compressor. And how to control the speed? We have to vary the voltage. Like for example, you have fan. Okay, in your room we have fan and we have speed regulators. Okay. So what is speed regulator? It is also power electronic based. Have you seen the speed regulator of the older days in old days, means in your childhood? I'm not sure whether you have seen, but most of my age people like means around 29, 30 years old or maybe 35 years old, those, yes, resistive controller, the big box, and there will be having some means means they will be having some means let me check on the means, just give me a minute. I will see on net and I will show you the image. Can you see the picture of the means regulators? Hello.
Yes, sir, we can see.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is the old regulator and this is the
Yes,
new
sir.
regulators. Okay. This is the old regulators and this is the new regulators. Okay. And similarly, we can have just a minute. Okay, you can see the means. Okay, so coming to that point, just a minute. Okay, so so now means you can see that there are different means. Okay, so as you have just seen that in the fan previously we used to have resistive based controller in which we used to have resistance and then we used to have power drop means voltage drop across those resistance and then uh, nowadays we have power electronic based controller for our fan. So previously if in that resistive based controller we used to have lot of uh, losses in energy, but now we don't have any loss in energy. So what my main point was that we are saving a lot of energy with the help of power electronic converters. Okay, so this is just an overview that why studying power electronics is very important. Okay, so if someone asks me that tell me some of the very important subjects in electrical engineering, so I will definitely take the name of power electronics as one of the very important subjects in electrical engineering. There are other subjects as well. There is no doubt on that part, but definitely power electronics is one of the very important subject. As you can, as I have just told you that it finds applications in almost everywhere. Means you talk about electric vehicle, you talk about solar energy, you talk about anything, you will find application of power electronics everywhere. Okay, so now means coming to some basic concepts of power electronics. Okay, so my initial means objective was to help you understand that why power electronics is very important. Now, once you have understood the importance of power electronics, now my objective is to give you some basic of idea about power electronics because the detailed one you will be getting to know in your training program which will last for 4 weeks. So my session is basically on basics of power electronics. So I will cover only that part. Okay. So this is the base. As you can see, the screen. Okay, there is a diagram on the screen and you can see in the diagram that there is a power electronic circuit here. Okay, are you able to see?
Yes, sir, we can see it.
Yes,
Okay.
sir, it is visible.
Okay, so power electronic circuit is there, and in that power electronic circuit this is the main power source. Okay, so basically we are controlling the main power source with the help of power electronic circuit and we are giving it to load. So let's suppose we have our load as fan motor. Okay, let us suppose that this load which is given in the diagram is the means motor. We have single phase induction motor in means in fan. Nowadays there are BLDC fans also available, but let's go to the old fan only. means in which we use single phase induction motor. Okay, how many of you know that we use single phase induction motor fan induction motor in fan? Are you knowing this thing?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay, so means suppose if the fan is not able to start by itself, then what will you do?
Sir, we'll give a jerk in the beginning.
Why?
Sir, because
Capacitor.
induction motor is not
Change the
self-starting
capacitor.
motor.
Capacitor change.
Means single phase induction motor. Okay,
Yes.
single phase induction motor is not self-starting motor. Okay, so I don't know whether you have done this thing or not, but I have done it many times in the childhood that whenever the capacitor gets failed, so what you have to do is that you just have to rotate the fan. Okay, so with the help of bat or with the help of some stick, we used to just give the rotational initial torque, because what does the capacitor do? It gives the starting torque. Okay, so it gives the starting torque to the motor. So if we give that starting torque with the help of some external forces, like I am saying that you can rotate the fan by using bat, by using a stick. So your fan will start rotating, and once your fan starts rotating, so as the coil in the induction machine is perfectly fine, so the fan will work perfectly fine. But even after rotating, if it's not getting started, that means there is some problem in the coil of your induction machine. So in that case, you have to open up the winding and then have to check across the coils whether there is any shortage in the coils or whatever may be the case. Okay, so let's come back to this diagram. So in this, we are taking this load as the fan, and before this load, we have this digital circuit and power electronic circuit. Okay, so this digital circuit and power electronic circuit can be termed as as your regulator. Okay, and main power source is the main power which is coming to the regulator. Okay, now what is feedback signal? Can anyone of you tell me what will be the feedback signal for the current example which I'm discussing?
So the speed.
Okay, feedback signal will be the speed. Okay, and who will give that feedback signal? Is it automatic or manual?
No, automatic, sir.
Automatic.
Yes, sir.
So in your room, do you have automatic feedback controller, or means is it means manual?
Sir, it is manual.
It is manual.
Yeah.
Manual.
Correct. It is manual, because once we are in the room, and if we feel that okay, we are feeling hot, means there is a lot of we are having sweats. Means then what we will do? We will increase the speed of the fan. Okay. So in this case, the feedback signal is speed, and the feedback is manual. Means we are sensing, and then we are changing the means control circuit. Means we are changing the position of the regulator. Okay. So this is just a very basic example for means, yes, please.
Sir, regulator is working as a feedback device according to you, sir.
No. Regulator is working as the digital circuit and power electronic circuit.
No, sir, but we are adjusting the speed based on our temperature in the room. So it is also working as a manual feedback.
So feedback is V only, na? Feedback signal is speed, because we are measuring in terms of speed. Okay, that how fast means how fast the fan is running, and since we are doing all the thing manually, like we are changing the speed of the fan manually. So presently in our home, we have manual feedback signal. But as Adarsh Dubey has written that in a smart home, we can control speed automatically. That's 100% fine. That is in a smart home. So I'm talking about the because since my main aim is to correlate the power electronics with our surrounding. So in our home, we have manual feedback signal. Okay. Are you is it okay, Adarsh?
Yes, sir. So Prashant.
No, Adarsh Dubey has it. Okay, okay. So hopefully Adarsh Dubey is also fine with. I know that in a smart home we can control the speed automatically, but as I said that I am trying to take the examples which is quite relevant to us, so that you can understand the importance of power electronics and you can sense power electronics. Once you are able to understand the importance of power electronics and you can able to see that what role it is playing, then you will start enjoying understanding power electronics and start enjoying studying power electronics. So I hope that now you are able to relate this means block diagram given on the screen. Okay. Anyone having any problem in this block diagram? Okay. So now going to the next thing. Okay. Now as you can see here, that there are different ratings of power diodes, transistors, and thyristors. Okay. So the rating of power diode is about 600 volt and 4500 ampere. Okay. Whereas in thyristors, we have 10 kV, 300 ampere, and 30 megawatt. Okay. So how many of you have heard about the concept of HVDC power transmission, high voltage DC power transmission?
Sir, I have.
Okay. Can you tell me what they are doing in that high voltage DC transmission?
So they are transferring the current in the form of the DC at very high voltages. These lines are also constructed at the very high altitude as compared to the normal high tension lines.
So they are using power converters to make the voltage higher. I think
No,
they are using solid state transformer for high voltages, step down, step up the voltage.
Yes, Deepali Patil has written correctly. They are converting AC to DC and then again DC at the end. So, do you know that who invented DC?
Edison?
Edison.
Yes, Edison. And who invented AC?
Tesla.
So
Tesla.
have you heard of
Tesla.
have you heard of a very famous fight between these two people, Edison and Tesla?
sir.
This means
Yes, sir.
they were
Yes,
trying
sir.
to war of currents. Yeah. So they were trying to put means the disadvantage of AC and DC. But do you know that initially, you know why AC won? Means why there is everywhere we are.
Yes,
Yeah.
because we cannot transfer DC for a longer duration of time, and it cannot travel long intervals. But AC can be transferred for a longer duration of time and longer distance.
For large,
You
for
can
large,
you can step up and step down easily with
sir,
AC.
for large voltage DC, we use large converters. We use large converters, which are bulky in size.
Yeah.
One
Rameshwari.
thing is AC can be step up with a very high voltages and step down
True, true.
That's not possible in the DC.
Yeah, true. So basically, mainly because of transformer, because someone has written transmission capability, someone has written about cost. All are means more or less correct, but the basic, like someone now one Jyotish Gehlot has written that DC can't transmit long distance, and all these are because of the high voltage rating. Okay, actually DC cost is less. People are writing DC cost is more, but in actual DC cost is less. Do you know why? Because in DC we are using only two wires, positive and negative, whereas in AC we have three-phase system, and losses are also more in AC system because we have inductance and capacitive losses in this in the transmission line, which is not available, which is not possible in DC transmission line. Means only there will be resistance losses, whereas in AC inductance and capacitance will also be present, and because of that losses will be more in AC. So the main reason for adopting AC for so long time is because of only transformers, because because with the help of transformer, so means Shaurya has written very correctly that in HVDC we can use single wire transmission. Now coming back to why AC was adopted very widely is because of the invention of the transformers, and two more thing was there. One is because of the synchronous generator, because it produces AC power, and another reason was do you know that induction motor is known as horsepower of the industry? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Induction motor is also known as horsepower because in most of the industries induction motor is used. Okay, so induction motor is also an AC motor, and the synchronous generator is also an AC generator. So our source is also AC, our load is also AC, and since we can with the help of transformer we can step up and step down the power, voltage level very easily, and so that's why AC was adopted everywhere. But now the situation has totally reversed. Now you can see most of the loads are going to become DC. Like take the example of your home. Okay, in your home previously, now you can see that all the bulbs which are LED bulbs, they are operating on DC. So that is why you are using rectifiers in LED bulbs. Similarly, all the computers, all the mobiles, all the battery chargers, all the electric vehicles, they are all the DC loads. Okay, and even BLDC fan, they also operate on DC. So we have a lot of DC load present nowadays. Now coming to, this is the load side. Now coming to power generation side, as you can see, previously we used to have power generation from the synchronous generator only, but now we can have power generation from solar PV cells as well. And you all know very well that solar PV generates DC power, isn't it?
Yes,
Am I
sir.
right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Oh, so actually, I just want to ask questions in between so that it should be a discussion sort of thing. I don't want to give a lecture because it's a training program. So I prefer to go in the interactive mode and in discussion mode rather than giving lectures, because in lecture becomes very boring, and you people don't understand a lot of things. So that's why as you have seen from the very beginning, I keep asking questions, and I'm basically discussing all the things which are surrounding us, and trying to emphasize the importance of power electronics in all these applications. Okay, so hopefully means the way which I have adopted is okay for all. Okay, so now coming back to AC versus DC. So as I can see that as I just told that just give me a minute. Yes, as I have told that means previously we have AC load and means AC power generation. Okay, and as you know that transformer is also AC. So all because of these things, we tend to have adaptability of AC everywhere. But now, as I told you that we have lot of DC loads in our home, and we have DC power generation as well in terms of solar. In India itself, we are going for a very large means scale power generation with the help of solar, and in means in other country as well, like in Australia and other country as well, we are going to integrate large amount of solar energy with the grid. So with that one other important thing is regarding, okay, so there are three things. One is generation, second is transmission, and third one is load. So out of these three things, first generation, it can be taken care by the solar power, which is DC power. Okay, load, now most of the loads are DC, so it is also taken care here. Third thing is about transmission. Now we have solid state transformer. Okay, anyone of you having any idea about what is solid state transformers?
Yes, sir.
What is that?
So basically, it's a conversion. There are three stages. First stage is AC to DC. Then there is a DC link capacitor in between that, which is of very low, and then again DC to DC. So combination of these three makes a solid state transformer. Basically, it replaces the traditional transformer as its size is reduced, and it is used for step the high voltages.
So how its size get reduced?
सर एज सर साइज इसकी सर ऐसे रिड्यूस होती है सर, क्योंकि इसमें जो पावर ट्रांस कन्वर्टर्स होते हैं सर, इनके सर प्रोटेक्शंस एग्जैक्टली सर निकल गया दिमाग से.
No problem. Anyone else? Can anyone of you let me know that how its size get reduced?
So I think because it uses less coils inside and rather power electronic devices, so the volume of the transformer becomes smaller.
Okay, Rameshri. Rameshri. Rameshri has written correctly. Can you please explain in audio? Rameshri, are you available? Hello. Sudipto, can you please unmute Rameshri?
Sir, the permission had been given to all participants. I think the problem is from their side actually. Yeah.
Okay. So, thank you. So, okay. So Rameshri has written correctly that it's a DC-DC converter and we are using high frequency transformer in between. Okay. So, now I will tell the basics of that. Okay. That what is, so as I told you that there are three things. First one is generation, second transmission, third one is load. So 2-1 I have clearly explained. That is load. Load one is the we are having a lot of DC loads nowadays in our home. First one generation, we have DC generation. Now second one transmission. So in transmission we have nowadays high voltage DC transmission. Okay. So in high voltage DC transmission, what we are doing is that we are increasing the voltage with the help of uh, this solid state transformer. Okay, and in this solid state transformer, what we are doing that first we are having okay, how many of you have seen the circuit of H bridge? H bridge inverter, how many of you have you studied H
Yes,
bridge
sir.
inverter?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Seen, sir.
Okay, H bridge inverter you all have seen. Okay, the best part of H bridge inverter is that the best part of H bridge inverter. Okay, can you give me 5 minutes? Because let me see some PDF for H bridge inverter and so that I can explain on the screen. Okay, just give me 5 minutes. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So sorry for you making it to wait for a long time, because I didn't initially plan to discuss solid state transformer, but the thing is that once the discussion comes into the picture, so I thought, okay, I will show the figure of that. So you can see that there is a DC to AC and AC to DC converter in this, and we have a transformer in between. Okay. So basically, what happened is that we have H bridge inverter here. Okay. So now you can see this is H bridge inverter. These are two H bridge inverter, and in the first H bridge inverter, we are converting from DC power to we are converting from DC power to AC power. Okay. See, this is the DC source VI, and with the help of VI, we are converting this DC into AC, and this, in between we have a transformer here where it is written TR. Okay. This transformer is a high frequency transformer, and we can also step up, like we can generally step up from 1 to 10 or 1 to 20, like all these things. Okay. And then again we convert this AC into DC. So for example, we have very low DC here. Now after a step up, we can have a very high DC here. So this is the circuit diagram of the uh, means solid state transformers, and this is the power diagram. Means you can see here that this is the power diagram, uh, VLV and VHV, and this is the current waveform for that. Okay. So means so by using this solid state transformer, we can also increase the means we can increase the voltage level. Okay. And once we increase the voltage level, we can easily transmit the DC voltage at high voltage, so that the power losses will be less. Okay. So means I think that is what I have to discuss. My time is also means till 3:30 I was having the time. So Sudipta sir.
Sir, you can continue. We have time. You can continue, sir. We can extend.
Okay. Okay.
No issues, sir. You can.
Okay. So Okay, so hopefully we get the idea that why this means high voltage DC-DC is getting lot of means a lot of importance nowadays. HVDC power transmission. Okay, so means now let's see some of the basics for power electronics.
Sir,
Yes, yes.
sir, integrated solid state transformer क्या होता है sir?
Integrated solid state transformer, it's the same solid state transformer which is integrated with the system. Okay, now coming to the basics of the power electronic converters, like these are the switches for means this is the thyristor characteristics. SCR thyristor, they have PN junction diodes. Okay, and means you can see the these characteristics of the SCR. I think most of these things you have studied already in your courses. So means we have to supply some gate current in order to so that the means the switch can be switched on. We have to give some current. Okay. Then let's go to just 1 minute. Okay. Okay, let's now come to the application of different converters. Okay. Just a minute. So application of different converters in this okay, but before that I should give you an overview of what are different types of converters. Okay, so see this is a very basic diagram for power electronic converters. We can have AC source, DC source, and we can have unregulated sources. Okay, and then we can have in the output AC output and DC output. So if you are having AC input and AC output, that is called AC to AC converter, which is also known as cycloconverters. Okay, or one of the examples for cycloconverter is matrix converter. If we have DC input and AC output, it is called inverters. Okay, if we have AC input and DC output, then it is called rectifiers. And if we have DC input and DC output, then it is called DC to DC converters. Okay, so these are some of the examples. Like we have application of AC to DC rectifiers. See here, these are the our normal phone chargers. So in this normal phone chargers, what we do is that we have AC power supply, and our output is DC because ultimately we have to charge our batteries. Okay, so we have AC input and DC output. That is why it is called AC to DC rectifiers. And we have DC to DC converters. So in this DC to DC converters, like we have DC to DC converters, we have this is the power supply for means for our UPS. This is the power supply of our UPS, or you can say CPU. Means this the computer which we are having right in our homes. This is the power supply. So we have different DC-DC converters in that, and application of DC-DC converters and inverters in PV system. We can see we have solar PV system, and the output of solar PV is somewhat unregulated. Means we have flexible a DC output voltage, which we want to have which we want to convert it into a constant DC output voltage. So we use DC-DC converter here. And then once we get the fixed DC output voltage here, then we have to convert it into AC using inverter for connecting it into the power grid. So you can see in the diagram here, we have just can see here, 1 minute, that we have a see the voltage previously here that it is varying, but after DC converter it becomes constant, and after inverter it becomes AC, and it can be connected to the power grid. Now application of DC-DC converters, rectifiers and inverters in wind energy system. So as you know that in wind energy system we have okay, in wind energy system, do you know that the power generated is AC or DC?
AC.
Okay, so we generate AC power. Now, do you know that how? Okay, do you know the idea that means? Have you seen the wind turbine speed? The rotation of the wind turbine?
Very less, around 25.
25 RPM.
Yes.
I think maybe lesser than that. Means maybe okay 25, but I think lesser than that also, because it's rotate very slowly. So how we are able to generate 50 hertz power?
With the help of gear, we can translate that power in high speeds, 1500 RPM, because generator work on very high speed, around 1500 RPM, and we are getting wind or turbines are rotating at very low speed, around 25 to 30 RPMs. So we can translate this energy with the help of gear arrangement.
Okay. So can you tell me any other sort of arrangement? Suppose if I don't want to use gearboxes, then
we can use this power to first rectify it, then we can boost it to the max DC level, and after that we will convert it to the variable frequency AC, so that it will provide our necessary level of power to the grids.
Pardon, can you repeat?
We can use this power. We can use the turbine that is rotated, and first we put it in the power into the rectifier, so that it will convert the AC power into DC. Then we will boost this power by using a DC-DC boost converter or buck boost converter, and then after that this power will go to the variable frequency AC inverters, means AC to DC to AC inverter, so that it will provide the necessary power for the grid.
Okay.
So this way we can transfer the power to the grid.
Yeah, because we can generate power at any frequency. That's not the problem. The problem comes, as told very clearly by Vasik, that means we can generate power at any frequency. Why we are using the gear was because we want to generate power at 50 hertz, but we can generate power at any frequency. The problem comes whenever we are going to connect it into the grid. Okay, because you all might have studied that there are 4 conditions for connection with the grid, and one condition is that means it should have same frequency. Okay, phase sequence should be same, frequency should be same, and phase difference between same phases should be same. Okay, so frequency should be same with the grid, and the grid frequency is 50 hertz and 60 hertz. Somewhere it is 50 hertz and somewhere it is 60 hertz. I will also come on the 60 hertz and 50 hertz story, but before that let me complete this block diagram. So finally we have to integrate the power generated from wind energy to the grid at 50 hertz. Okay, so what we do is that the inverter output. What is the input of inverter? It is DC, correct?
Yes, sir.
So now the output of the inverter is in our hand. Okay, means whatever frequency we want to achieve from the inverter, we can very easily achieve because what we do is that the frequency of the output voltage of the inverter is dependent on the switching frequency, and switching frequency is totally in our hand. It depends upon the how fast we are switching our circuits. So depending upon that, the output frequency will depends on will change. So what we do is that we generate AC voltage, as you can see in this figure, at low frequency, and then we convert that low frequency AC voltage into DC by using rectifier. And once we get the DC voltage, before connecting to the grid, we can use an inverter in which we can again convert the DC into AC at the desired frequency, and the frequency will be controlled by switching of the switches. And in this block diagram, I have shown that since we are getting a DC in between, so an additional DC-DC converter is used for storing extra energy in the battery energy storage system. For example, sometime when the wind speed is high and we don't have any load on the grid, so what we can do is that the extra power we generate, we can store in the grid. Sorry, we can store in the battery energy storage system. And when the grid requires extra power and wind is not blowing that fast, so we have less power generated at the wind turbine, so we can cover the difference by extracting power from the battery energy storage system. So then the question will be asked that why I am so determined to change the gear system. Do you have any idea that why this gearbox arrangement has been changed?
To overcome the mechanical losses first,
Yes.
and the cost of the gearbox. Also, the maintenance on the wind turbine is very not it's not easy job, because every time we have to go to the upper level of the wind turbine, then change the gear systems, or if there is a damage, it will be very difficult to change.
Okay, so I think you people are following the basics of reasons why we are changing the gearboxes. Always remember that mechanical losses will be higher than electrical losses. Reason is very simple, that mechanical will be having rotational loss, friction losses, whereas in electrical we don't have these type of losses. Okay, so that's why we changed the arrangement from gearbox to power electronics based arrangement. So this is all what we wanted to, but actually what I have planned to discuss, basically to give you an overview that there are different applications in which power electronics can be used, and the full form of PMSG is permanent magnet synchronous generator. So Shaurya Sharma has asked the full form of PMSG. So it is permanent magnet synchronous generator. So this is all what I wanted to discuss. Hopefully you may have got an overview that how important power electronics will be there, is there, and especially in the current scenario where everything is being governed by power electronics. If you see if you see in your room itself, you will find power electronics everywhere. Even in your mobile, in your computer, in your power bank, in your inverters, refrigerators, ACs, everywhere you'll find now inverters and power electronics things. So with this, Sudipto.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you for this session. I hope there is no queries from the participants. So, sir, I would request one thing
Yeah.
from our side, from our company.
Yeah.
Sir, could you please give us about the applications you are doing using Typhoon HL and some feedbacks regarding Typhoon HL real-time sim data?
Okay. So, means you want me to share my recent
Yeah,
public?
yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Any publications or your views regarding our support and means what we can perform using Typhoon, some kind of feedback
So
like this thing.
can you give me 2 minutes? I can show some of the publication
Sure,
which
sure,
is
sure.
okay. Okay, because
Yeah.
I have to open the folders for that. Okay, just give me 2 minutes. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes.
So yeah. Hello.
Yes, sir. Your screen
Okay.
is visible.
Okay.
Yes.
So now, firstly, I am highly thankful to Typhoon Hill from Switzerland, as well as to Corps Kanpur, especially uh, s- his CEO Siddiqui Saab and Rajesh Maurya ji and all the team, especially Shashank. Shashank has helped us a lot, and to all the team, Sudipto and all. So first of all, we are very thankful to them for means helping us to get some Typhoon Hill in our lab. Presently, we are having a very highly dedicated Typhoon Hill lab in our department. We have 5 Typhoon Hill 402 emulator box, as well as 1 Typhoon Hill 602 plus emulator box available in our lab. So totally we have 6 setup available. So at the time, 6 groups can work, which is I think very rarely available in any of the labs in India. So for all this, I am very thankful to Typhoon and Corps team. And we have fully utilized this facility in the last 1 year. And with the help of the technical team from Typhoon Hill Switzerland and from the Corps, like Shashank and other people from Corps, we are able to publish, and obviously with the great support from my research team, like from my students and from my colleagues at AMU, because we are presently having around 10 to 15 students, and 2 to 3 faculty members are working in my university, Aligarh, which is Aligarh Muslim University, in the Department of Electrical Engineering in this area, Typhoon Hill based research. So in the last 1 year, we are able to publish around 10 SCI index journals. Means only SCI index journals are given weightage in good institutes. So around 10 SCI index journals, which includes 2 to 3 transactions, IEEE transactions, and I guess around 2 to 3 IEEE access papers, and other 5-6 SCI journal paper. So in total, around 10 to 15 journal papers we are able to publish in the last 1 year, and around I think so around 10 to 15 top conference paper, like last year we have PEDES, Power Electronics and Drives Energy System Conference, which is organized once in every 2 years. And last year it was organized in MNIT Jaipur, and before that it was organized at IIT Madras. So we have around our team has around 9 papers accepted in that conference, and I think around out of those 9 papers, 5 or 6 are based on this Typhoon Hill. Similarly, we have IECON conference, which is world-renowned conference. So we have many papers in IECON conference as well. So in short, Typhoon Hill facility is very useful if you want to take real-time result. What happens is that whenever we do simulation in MATLAB simulation is not in real time. Okay, so in MATLAB simulation is not in real time, and means what do you mean by real time? See, means whenever you simulate in MATLAB, for example, you are simulating some inverter circuit, and you put that time as 10 seconds. Okay, and if you click the run button, if your model is not that much heavy, what you will find is that it will run within a second. Correct? Have you observed this thing?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and similarly, if you are working on DC-DC converter in MATLAB, and if you put the run time for, let's say, 0.1 second, okay, but your means time step is very low, and if you push the if you click the run button, then it will take maybe 5 minutes or 10 minutes to get the result for 0.1 second. Have you also observed or faced this issue?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that means this is not real time. Real time means if you are running the system for 1 second, so it must run in 1 second. If you're running the system for 0.1 second, it must run in 0.1 second. Okay, then only it is called as real time. Okay, so this is what you observed in means when we are doing experimental work. If you want to take if you want to observe your inverter for 10-second operation, then we have to wait for 10 seconds only. We cannot take all the result in 1 second. So similarly, Typhoon Hill emulators do the same function, and the this scheme which I am sharing is one of the recent work which have been published. We have developed a new inverter which is called V inverters. As you can see, the alphabet W is here in orange color, pale orange, and pale sky. It is means E alphabet is there. Can you observe this thing in the screen?
Yes, sir.
So that's why we have. This is a new inverter. We have also published the patent on that, and we means this is the new invention invented by our team. So this is a 11 level V inverter, and to validate this thing, we have used HIL platform. I can see the HIL result which we have observed. These are the different stages, means function stages, and see, you can see this figure. These are the gate signals which are obtained in real time with the help of HIL 402. Okay. And similarly, you can see these are the results which we have obtained using HIL 402 for our inverter in dynamic mode as well. Means we are changing the current and our voltage, our inverter output voltage is kept constant. Okay. So these all results are obtained on HIL lab in Aligarh Muslim University using HIL 402 setup.
Sir, what is the difference between present inverters and the inverter model that you have shown right now?
The present, see, I mean the present inverters which are having means as you can see here, that whatever the new inverters are coming, the function is same. We are converting DC to AC, but as you know that every time we just want to improve the efficiency, we want to improve the its functionality. Like I will give you a very simple example. There are different cars available in the market. Okay.
Yes, sir.
And every car is performing the same function.
Yes,
but different companies have different, means if you go for a costly car, you will get a very high starting torque. Okay. Very good speed control. So similarly, different inverters have different advantages associated with it. So as you can see on the figure here, we have compared the switch. We have taken the switching losses and conduction losses for our inverters, and we have compared it with the other established inverters, as I can show you here. See, in this diagram, we have compared different other inverters with our inverters. Okay. So this is how, means why we are doing research in inverter basis. Basically, function remains same, but we just try to improve some of the functions. So this is one area in which we are working right now, and means Typhoon Hill has supported a lot in this endeavor. And this is the second area which we have worked right now, means for solar PV powered BLDC motor driven light electric vehicles. Okay. So this also we have obtained results in Typhoon Hill. You can see some of the results. Yeah, these are some of the results obtained using Typhoon Hill platform. So we have also given the results using Typhoon Hill. So in short, Typhoon Hill has helped us a lot in getting some real-time results, and eventually we are able to publish some good research works which are available in public domain. So, Sudipto.
Yeah, thank you, sir, for this lovely feedback. We are grateful for that, and also thank you for accepting our invitation to deliver this session. Also, thank you for the time given from your side, in spite of the busy schedule of yours. So, I'd like to thank, in behalf of Co-ops team, to you for accepting our invitation.
Okay. I'm just ending my just a minute, because
Sure.
someone is asking. Just a minute, I will send my. So I have shared my email ID as well as my WhatsApp number, because my WhatsApp number is different from my calling number. So I'm sharing my calling number.
Yes.
Because I'm
So
still,
participants, if you have any queries, any doubts, then you can contact. Sir has already provided the contact details on the chat box. You can note it down. Also, we'll share it to the WhatsApp group. Okay.
so any queries, if they have, they can ask maybe in 5 minutes, because I'm already having about 2 hour lecture.
Yes, sir.
About
Yes, sir.
45 minutes. Yeah.
It's
But hopefully, one thing I am hopeful that the participant may have enjoyed because I just wanted to make it very interactive.
Yes, sir.
So any queries or feedback from the participants?
Participants, if you have any feedback, you can just unmute
Feedback or
yourself.
queries, anything, because I've already shared my email ID, WhatsApp number. WhatsApp number is from Singapore, because I've been in Singapore for a very long time, and I'm still using my Singapore WhatsApp number. My calling number is different because presently I'm in India, so my calling number is from India. Okay. Yeah, Shamsuddin, sir, Adarsh. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So do you know him?
Yes, sir. I know him personally. He taught me in my UG classes.
In
GLA
GLA Mathura?
University. Yes, sir.
Yeah, GLA Mathura. Yeah. So GLA Mathura means GLA Mathura. How many means? I think he has taught for 3 or 4 years. Correct?
Yes, sir. My batch was 2015 to 2019.
Okay.
UG batch.
Okay. So, okay, you can just drop me a WhatsApp message. I will.
Yes, sir.
I will try to. I think I have his number. I will try to give it to you. Or else, do you know Professor Anwaruddin Anwar?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes,
He
sir.
also
He
taught
was,
at GLA
Our
Mathura.
system.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So I'm in regular touch with him. So if I'm not having his number, then I will ask him and I will share it to you.
Yes, sir.
Any other queries or
I think, sir, there is no queries from the participants. They have
they
posted
can
their
all,
feedback. Yeah, yes.
yeah, feedback. Yeah, I'm seeing. Yeah, means actually it's all about the participant. They are very patiently hearing all these things, listening. So that makes the difference. It's not about the speaker actually. If something is interesting, it's the credit goes to the participants only, because you know that means the more patiently and the more means with higher concentration they listen the lecture, means they'll be able to grasp more. The only thing I did was that I just tried to make it interactive format.
Yes, sir. Definitely, it was an interactive session, and participants also listened to you very much, quite interactive manner. So
Okay.
that was an amazing experience from the participants' point of view. I think so.
Okay, thanks a lot, and maybe in future session also, if you
Sure.
if you want my support.
Definitely, sir. Definitely.
Okay, is Shashank sir available in the call?
No, sir. Actually, he has means issue with his laptop. So
Yeah, because I saw that he has joined. So convey my thanks and regards to Shashank sir.
Definitely, sir.
Because we have got immense support, technical support from him, without doubt. And convey my regards and thanks to Siddiqui sir and Rajesh Maurya sir.
Of course,
They have
sir.
also supported us a lot.
Yeah, of course, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. So participants, we have already completed this theory session. So we'll have a 15 minutes break. I think from 16:30 means 4:30 onwards, we will join again and start the next session for the hands-on. Okay.
Okay, and please feel free to message me or email. Okay, all the participants. Means there is no hesitation in that. I may not be able to reply you soon because I used to get a lot of messages even from my own students, but definitely I will respond you maybe after a week also, but I will respond definitely. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Okay, participants. So we are having a break and we'll meet by 4:30. Okay.
Hello, Sudipto sir.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Sir, actually, I